Living Daylights shot its way onto the screen in June of 1987 in the UK, and a month later in the USA. The 15th cinematic adventure of James Bond was a massive financial success, taking over 190 million off of a production budget of 40. The film was marketed highly and drew people's attention as it featured Timothy Dalton replacing Roger Moore, whom had held the role for the past 6 films in the previous 8 years. Following tradition with the former films in the series, a royal premiere was held in London. Timothy Dalton's rendition of the beloved Bond character would go on to receive a mixed reaction from both audiences and critics. The film was directed by John Glenn, who was an experienced Bond director, having previously directed For Your Eyes Only, Octopussy and A View to a Kill. The film would be the last to use a title of Ian Fleming's original novels until Casino Royale almost 20 years later. Following an exciting pre-title sequence set on the Rock of Gibraltar, James Bond is assigned to aid the defection of a KGB officer, General Georgy Koskov, covering his escape from a concert hall in Bratislava. During the mission, Bond notices that the KGB sniper assigned to prevent Koskov's escape is a female cellist from the orchestra. Disobeying his orders to kill the sniper, he instead shoots the rifle from her hands, enabling Koskov to escape with him back to England.
Whoever she was must have scared the living daylights out of her.
Koskov informs MI6 that the KGB's old policy of Smert Spionem, meaning death to spies, has been revived by General Pushkin, the new head of the KGB. Koskov is later abducted from the safe house. Bond is directed to track down Pushkin in Tangier and kill him, to stop further killings of agents and to prevent the escalation of tensions between the Soviet Union and the West. Bond agrees to carry out this mission when he learns that the assassin who killed 004 in Gibraltar left a note bearing the same message, Smert Spionem. Bond returns to Bratislava to track down the cellist. He finds out that Koskov's entire defection was staged and that Kara is actually Koskov's girlfriend. Meanwhile, Pushkin meets with an arms dealer, Brad Whitaker, in Tangier, informing him that the KGB is cancelling an arms deal previously arranged between Koskov and Whitaker. During his brief romance with Kara in Vienna, Bond meets his MI6 ally, Saunders, who has discovered a history of financial dealings between Koskov and Whitaker. As he leaves their meeting, Saunders is killed by Koskov's henchman Necros, who again leaves a message as Smert Spionem. Bond and Kara promptly leave for Tangier, where Bond confronts Pushkin, who denies knowledge of the Smert Spionem program and reveals that Koskov is evading arrest for embezzlement of government funds. Bond and Pushkin then join forces, faking Pushkin's assassination, prompting Whitaker and Koskov to progress with their scheme. Meanwhile, Kara contacts Koskov, who tells her that Bond is actually a KGB agent. Kara drugs Bond before learning that he was actually the British agent sent to kill her, and also the truth behind Koskov and his plans. After Kara is betrayed by Koskov, she along with Bond are jailed in Afghanistan. As they make their escape, they become acquainted with freedom fighter Kamran Shah, joining forces in an attempt to put Koskov and his accomplices' plans to ruin. After Roger Moore left the role of Bond, the filmmakers were looking for a replacement. They screen-tested actors Sam Neill and Pierce Brosnan, amongst others. The producers were keen on Brosnan, who had just finished the lead role on American TV series Remington Steele. Once NBC, the producers of the TV show, found out that he was being pursued to play Bond, they triggered a clause in Brosnan's contract for another series of the show, hoping it would bring a fresh interest to Remington Steele, knowing that Brosnan would be the next James Bond. Cubby Broccoli didn't like this tactic at all, resulting in their offer to Brosnan being withdrawn. English actor Timothy Dalton had been approached to play Bond years earlier when producers were casting on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Dalton declined at the time, as he felt that he was too young for the role. The producers asked Dalton again, and he accepted. Dalton was a classically trained actor who had a wealth of experience in stage, screen, and television roles. He wanted to bring Bond back to his roots and away from the tongue-in-cheek reluctant hero character that Roger Moore had portrayed. English actress and model Mariam DeBeau was cast as Cara Milovi, gone were the Bond girls of the past, with the film swapping the blonde exotic fantasy girl for a more realistic and stronger character, a girl out of her depth in a world where she doesn't belong. Mariam had also appeared in a few films prior to this one, including the British horror Extra. John Rhys Davies starred as Pushkin, the current leader of the KGB. Davies, also a classically trained actor, had appeared in many on-screen roles, including Raiders of the Lost Ark. Rhys went on to reprise this role in the Raiders sequel Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and also appeared in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy as Gimli. Dutch actor Jeroen Krabbe played Russian defector General Georgy Koskov. Jeroen would go on to appear in supporting roles in films such as The Fugitive, The Punisher, and The Transporter 3. Andrzej Wisniewski played the role of Necros, Koskov's right-hand man. This was one of his first films, recently changing careers from dancing to acting. Andreas would go on to appear in 80s action classic Die Hard in a memorable role.
Large machine gun.
Ho, ho, ho.
As well as also appearing in the original Mission Impossible film and its sequel, Ghost Protocol. Joe Don Baker starred as American arms dealer Brad Whitaker. Joe was chosen for this role after impressing producers with his varying roles in television, including the British miniseries Edge of Darkness. Joe had several roles in Hollywood productions before returning to Bond movies in GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies as CIA agent Jack Wade. Pakistani English actor Art Malik plays the role of the Mujahideen freedom fighter Cameron Shah. Art has hundreds of credits to his name, appearing mainly in British television roles. His most notable role after this film was the villain in Schwarzenegger's action thriller True Lies. Caroline Bliss takes over the role of Miss Moneypenny from long-standing actress Lois Maxwell. Only 25 years old at the time, Caroline is the youngest actress to have played the role. The film was shot in a variety of locations, including Gibraltar, America, England, Austria, and Morocco. John Barry returned to compose the music for the film, which was modernised with electronic sequence rhythm tracks mixed within the orchestral score. After the huge success of the previous film's title track, A View to a Kill by Duran Duran, the producers were looking to repeat this success. The Pretenders were originally considered to provide the title track. However, the producers went with Norwegian trio Aha, thinking that they would more likely make an impact in the charts. The song had a music video produced, filmed on the empty 007 stage at Pyman Studios. The song went on to peak at number 5 in the UK chart, failing to repeat Duran Duran's success, but did hit number 1 in Aha's home country of Norway. The Pretenders contributed 2 songs for the film. Where Has Everybody Gone, heard via Necros's Walkman. If There Was a Man was used over the closing credits. This would be John Barry's 14th and final contribution to Bond, and he did an excellent job. The score has aged particularly well and still sounds fresh to this day. John won the award for Best Film Music at the BMI Film and TV Awards the following year. John can also be seen in a cameo role as a conductor. Desmond Llewellyn returns as Q, providing Bond with his trademark gadgets. Electronics company Philips provided Bond's special keyring prop. This wasn't a commercial product, it was created specifically for the film. Philips released a toy version as a giveaway at the premiere, which still commands a high price between collectors today. Another return was made by the Aston Martin. Absent from Bond movies since On Her Majesty's Secret Service 18 years earlier, this time the film would feature the V8 Vantage, seen in both hard and soft-top coupe editions. Special effects supervisor John Richardson provided some great special effects, including foreground miniatures for the Afghanistan bridge at the end of the film. The actual bridge was only a few feet high, but with John's trickery, he made it look as if it were a couple of 100 feet high. We then cut to a specially created model of the bridge for its destruction. The effects work on this film were great for their time and still hold up well. The stunt work was equally impressive on this picture. The final fight between Bond and Necros hanging from the net out of the back of the Hercules was actually performed for real over the Mojave Desert to great effect. The freefall stunt performers were backed up by skydivers in the rear of the plane. If they needed to fall, the skydivers would jump out and catch them up to ensure their safety. Dalton would return to film a sequel, License to Kill, 2 years later in 1989. Dalton was contracted to appear in 3 movies, however the studio's legal troubles during the early 90s prevented the third from entering production. After a wait of 5 years, Dalton was asked to reprise his role in GoldenEye, which Dalton was up for. He felt that he could take elements of both movies and make a better third and final performance. However, when producers tried to sign him up for a 5-picture deal, he declined and announced his retirement from Bond. The role was then taken over by Pierce Brosnan, returning an element of Roger Moore's wisecracking to his character. Timothy Dalton's hard-edged Bond received a mixed reaction from fans, mainly as it was so different from Roger Moore's previous portrayal of the character, and it seemed that audiences weren't quite ready for it. It wouldn't be until years later when Daniel Craig performed the role of Bond, breathing new life into the fictional roots of the character. People could see that Timothy Dalton had done it first, and arguably better.
Bond, James Bond.
The Living Daylights remains an overlooked entry to the series, with some considering it as one of the best. It isn't a perfect film. In my opinion, the main villains could be a bit more menacing, which would lead to a greater finale. They are cast well, but could do with some better material to work with. The twist of Kofkov's character is delivered too early and so casually that it doesn't seem like a twist at all. The strongest parts of this movie are Dalton's straight-cut portrayal of Bond, Mariam DeBoe's refreshing love interest, Andrew Wisniewski's henchman Necros, the spectacular stunt work, special effects, and its grand score. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Retro Reels.
Hey Doc, this is it.
Great Scott!